So this is what we mean by the buy side of things. So um, buy side can be separated clearly into private banking and private banking and asset management. So private banking are the clients, I would say, are the clients of asset management. They could be the clients of asset management. Why? So imagine you're like really, really, really rich guy. So you have like a couple trillion US dollars of assets, and you want to find this private banker at JP Morgan. So you tell him the goal of your portfolio is to get more money. So you like things things on the riskier side. So you wouldn't mind taking more risk. So this private banker would then approach like asset management companies or approach like companies with like mutual funds or some more exotic products. Let's say BlackRock, PIMCO, Fidelity, Vanguard, and ask these guys for the products for their funds. And this private banker would monitor the portfolio consisting of these funds from these asset management companies and see how it's performing. So if you're a really rich guy, you're gonna be the client of private bankers, and private banking companies like JP Morgan Private Banking or uh, like UBS Private Banking or like Goldman Sachs Private Banking. These banking companies are gonna be the clients of asset managers like BlackRock or Fidelity, and Fidelity or BlackRock is gonna be the client of JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs. So this is basically how the whole food chain looks like for sales and trading, uh, and asset management and private banking and family offices combined. So yeah, that's pretty much the overview of buy side and sell side. Um, so about the structure of front office teams in private banking and asset management. So in private banking, what you usually have is like some bankers. So what bankers do is they're direct coverage. They are the direct coverage of these rich guys. So these are the guys who actually plays golf with the rich guys out there, or they go to some clubs, have dinners with them. And then you also have some kind of more investment advisors, which is basically the investment teams. So these investment teams, what they do is that um, they provide like market insights. So they do some research about the markets. They like give some trading ideas or some pitch ideas for these clients, as in what kind of products they think is going to be a good buy or good sell right now. So they communicate these ideas with these bankers and relationship managers, and then these relationship managers and bankers go out and just talk to your clients. So this is basically the structure of private banking. And then moving on, you also have the structure of asset management, which you have portfolio managers, asset class specialists, and also traders. So and also sales as well. But sales is actually not really regarded as front office teams in asset management. I mean, you could still say it's like a front office team, because it's actually client facing. But in some regards, it's actually not really front office if you're like a sales in asset management. So how it works? So you have these specialists in in uh, in, uh, in asset management. Let's say if you're in Fidelity, you have these equity specialists, you have these FX specialists, or you have these like fixed income specialists where you're like ex traders or in investment banks. So you have all these like really strong knowledge or product knowledge about these product asset classes. So you're gonna be the go-to guy when people have these questions about these asset classes. And portfolio managers, they're actually the ones picking these securities within asset classes, or actually picking the asset classes, and they're gonna be the one that's actually gonna they're gonna be the one that's actually gonna pick these asset classes to put into the portfolio. So they're gonna be the one that's taking a risk, taking a P&L swing, and then whenever they make this decision, they're gonna assess the market directly. So they're gonna go to the execution guys, who's gonna be the execution traders, and these execution traders, they're gonna go to like Goldman Sachs or J.P. Morgan or these sales and trading companies to ask for a price, and then they're gonna ask for a price and they execute at the best price available in the market, or based on some constraints from the portfolio managers, as in how the portfolio manager wants them to work the order for them. So traders in the buy side, their access or how they are paid is based on how well they execute the orders from portfolio managers. Let's say the portfolio managers say, "Oh, you're gonna buy this security for me, not worse than $50, not worse than $50." So if you successfully buy everything for him at the price of $45, then you basically secure like a margin for $5, possibly for yourself. So your performance review, it's gonna be based on that. So that's how you're gonna be assessed as like a trader in buy side, and that's like how buy side traders, portfolio managers, and also uh, like specialists work together in the buy side asset management. So moving on to the day to day, like the actual duty for private banking and and for asset management. So first of all, you have the bankers up there. So the bankers are the bankers in private banking. So uh, they they obviously maintain a relationship. That's the duties for all typical sales. But I'll say what makes a private banking sales different from sell side sales is the fact that the coverage for private bankers are actually more comprehensive, but in the sense that it's comprehensive, but it's not as in depth. So let's say if you're working in the sales side and you're like an ethics sales, you cover basically every single thing in ethics, which you're gonna know in depth. But if you're working in buy side as a private banker, you're gonna know a lot of things as well, but you're not gonna know a lot of things about. But you're not gonna know a lot of things about like you're not gonna know a lot of things about um uh like every single like you're not gonna know a lot of things about a specific asset class. It's just like you're gonna know a bit about a stock, a bit about bonds, a bit about FX, but you're not gonna be like the go-to guy, or you're not gonna be the one their clients gonna like your clients won't expect you to know in depth about every single thing, but you're gonna have like a basic solid understanding of all these stuffs. So I would say in terms of coverage, it's actually wider for private bankers, but in terms of like in depthness, it's less wide for private bankers. And then um, you're basically what you do on a day-to-day basis is just you provide some market updates and some investment ideas for clients. Let's say if you see overall overnight treasuries rallies a lot, then you might, based on that, think about some kind of like pitching ideas for them for clients, or just give them some market colors based on all the kind of like inquiries that your clients might have. And then there's also the portfolio manager, which gonna be the ones who's gonna drive the return. So this is basically the job duties for bankers and portfolio managers. And then the typical career path for asset management is gonna be first of all, I would say this chart here. Um, I would say in terms of analysts, uh, the openings is first of all not that much, to be honest, in Hong Kong, because asset managers or private banks, asset managers I say in particular, usually don't hire that much juniors in Hong Kong. They're more focused in the hiring in the UK or in the States or in European countries. I would say in buy side the openings are mostly focused on private banking, especially like Citibank, HSBC, Goldman Sachs, UBS. So I'll say the openings are more like in private banking side. But I'll say to start off with, the salary is going to be much lower, not much lower, but a bit lower compared to the sell side, because hours are going to be much better in buy side, and stress level is going to be much lower as well. So I would say that's like a typical career path, but still money is quite decent. Um, and then moving on to exit opportunities, usually for private banking, if you're a sales, you can move back or you can move back and forth from private banking sales to asset management sales, and then but as I mentioned, it's also still more focused on the sales role because you start off with sales, so it's pretty hard for you to move on to other roles like trading or structuring because of the fact that you're trained with less technical background. So that's pretty much the fact. That's pretty much it because you can't really do anything to change the fact that you're not gonna be like you're not gonna be like that good. You're not gonna be like um, that technical for your career. Whereas if you work for asset management, you can switch to other asset management companies. It's pretty rare for people to move back from asset management to sell side if you're a portfolio manager or a trader, because I mean it's just weird because you're too used to being a client of these companies, so you wouldn't want to move back just because you're used to the working environment in buy side. And also, if you're like a portfolio manager or like a trader, uh, the actual things that you do is actually a bit different as well. So I would say, to be honest, if you want a more diversified or more flexible career, I would say being like a trader on the sell side is the best career choice, following by being a trader in buy side, or being a research analyst in buy side if you have the opportunity, because research analysts work really closely with portfolio managers as well. So there's like a really good, I would say, flexibility to transit from one role to another as well. And then these are like the companies that are hiring. So just to walk you through these companies. So these are the three main companies that's hiring interns and graduates. I would say Allianz and Fidelity, they've got really decent rotational program. So I think Allianz got a really, they have changed the structure a bit. So instead of just doing like a role specific program, now they actually have kind of like a rotation where you can rotate across regions as well as specific roles. So I heard some graduates last year actually rotate all the way from Hong Kong to Germany, and in Fidelity they also have really decent rotation uh, across different divisions in, let's say, trading, portfolio management, research, and analytics as well. Whereas for BlackRock is actually more static. You're placed on that team and you don't have much chances to rotate. So I mean, chances are out there, guys, but it just depends on whether you have the right skill set. So that's also why it's important for me to tell you guys like um, what are like the skill set needed for asset management, uh, and also the technical knowledge as well. And I would say in terms of skill set, on the buy side is more like a generalist, because when you manage a portfolio, you usually manage the whole portfolio in a more macro perspective. So you cannot just say, oh, you know about FX, so you know about equities. So it just doesn't work this way. You have to make sure you have a bit of understanding of every single thing. So if you read a wide range of stuff but you don't have really specialty, then I would say you might as well want to try the buy side, because buy side is something which is less general, which is something like more of an overview of stuffs, and I think that would suit you a bit more as well. So I would say one important thing um, working for the buy side is the fact that you need to be like a generalist. You need to have like a general understanding of every single thing about the States, about Europe, about FX, about equities, just a bit of everything. Um, and then for private banking, you really need to be someone who is really polished. So as in, if you're gonna be a banker, you're gonna work for some a lot of like rich people, and you have to understand the way they think. You have to try to understand like how the upper class, I would say, look at stuff, as in how they look at life, how they look at the market, and what are the things that actually catches their attention. So I think these might be the things that you need to have in mind, as in the kind of skill set that you need to have. And then usually typical questions in private banking could be just asking you for portfolio pitch, as in how you're going to manage this portfolio. If you're given like 10 like uh, a certain amount of US dollars, and whether uh, this is going to give a good return, whether and for asset management is more like asset allocation theories, and also asking you about the fund knowledge of a specific fund in that company. It could be like a stack shift fund, or like some really popular funds of that company. So I think one thing that you can't overlook when you apply for asset management is that you need to read up some fund fact sheets from these companies, and you have to make sure you understand what are the top funds that they're setting up there. So I think that's to wrap up. That's pretty much what I want to tell you guys today. So thank you very much for attending today's section of Introduction to Sales and Trading, Private Banking, Asset Management. We've covered a lot of things today over the past 1 hour. So just to wrap up, I told you about the overview of global markets and sales and trading. We've talked about what sales and trading actually is, what are the basic information of it, what are the requirements, and obviously things that you guys are interested in, how much you're going to get paid, what are the career prospects, what you do as a sales, a trader, what makes you as good at sales as well. And uh, I've also told you, I've also talked a bit about the basic skill set needed for session trading, uh, what are the skill set needed to be passionate about the market, how you can show the interviewers that you're actually passionate. And then we moved on to the second part, which was about private banking, asset management, as in how asset management structure the teams, how is it different from session trading, and how does session trading, asset management, private banking, and family office work together, and then the career path and the separation of work in asset management, which includes execution trader, portfolio managers, as well as FX, interest rates, and equity specialists, and also the exit routes as well. So I hope you found this 1 hour section useful, and that's pretty much for today. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.